With your 10 p.m. Saturday tropical weather update, I'm meteorologist Trevor Birchett. Let me get you right out to the satellite view of these two storms we've been watching. Tropical storm Laura now approaching the island of Hispaniola down in the Caribbean, and Marco now entering the Gulf of Mexico, where it is going to have plenty of room to strengthen. As a matter of fact, both of these storms going to have plenty of room to strengthen once they get into the Gulf of Mexico. I wanted to show you the sea surface temperatures, the temperatures of the ocean. And this is a very important part of hurricane development. And when you see numbers this high where the water is almost 90 degrees, that is very favorable for tropical storm and hurricanes to strengthen. So as both of these storms enter the Gulf of Mexico, it is likely that both of them will undergo some sort of strengthening. Let me get you right to Marco. Here's the latest: 65-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure is down just a little bit to 994 millibars, moving off to the north-northwest. But notice, once it got past between the Yucatan and Cuba, the convection has already started to pop up just a little bit. So that is already a sign of some strengthening going on with Marco. Here's where the latest track takes this storm. I do think by tomorrow morning we'll have a Category 1 hurricane with as warm that water is, as I mentioned. I do think this thing is going to be able to strengthen. Still expecting a landfall late Monday afternoon as a Category 1 hurricane, either on the far southeastern Louisiana coastline or along the coast of Mississippi. Still a little bit of uncertainty there. After that, it basically tracks right over central Louisiana as a tropical storm, dumping some heavy rain and gusty winds before it just kind of dies out over in eastern Texas. So this track with Marco means we won't really feel a whole lot of impacts for the first half of the week in northeast Mississippi. Maybe some showers, but the worst of Marco, at least, is going to stay to our south. Now let's get the latest on Laura, just a few hundred miles off to the south and east. 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds right now. Pressure is 1,003 millibars, moving off to the west-northwest. And it's going to continue to interact with some land here, so that could inhibit its development, but really not all that much. So watch this. It's going to pass right over Hispaniola, right over Cuba, maintain its strength as a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. But as soon as it hits that Gulf water, it is going to intensify up to a Category 1 hurricane by 7 p.m. on Tuesday. 85-mile-an-hour winds with Laura, and then it begins to curve off to the north and east. Now expected to make landfall once again, either in Louisiana or Mississippi, as a 90-mile-an-hour Category 1 hurricane. That's just about 48 or 50 hours after Marco makes landfall in basically the same area. So these two storms are not going to be making landfall at the exact same time, but they're going to make landfall in basically the same area about 48 hours apart. Now, Laura is going to continue to move off to the north, and as close as it is forecast to get to our area, it could bring us some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain by Thursday or Friday. So that's something we'll continue to keep an eye on. The latest on the advisory paths are here is actually, let me show you this. These are the two cones stacked on top of each other. So this will go to show you where these storms are going to make landfall. And again, Marco's going to come in first, but Laura not too far behind it, and the cones overlap right over Louisiana and South Mississippi. So somewhere in Louisiana and Mississippi, both of these storms will make landfall. Here are those latest tropical alerts and advisories. Tropical storm watch for the Alabama coast and inland Mississippi and Louisiana. Hurricane watches in effect now for Biloxi, Gulfport, and a good chunk of the Louisiana coastline. Of course, we'll have the latest tropical information for you as these storms continue to strengthen right here on WCBI, and I'll have the latest tropical update for you bright and early tomorrow morning as soon as the new information is released.